Hey parents, how do you make smarter choices for your kids' college today? That's where Sally can help. With Sally, you can find scholarships, funding options, tools, and guidance all in one place. And if you need a loan, Sally has options for different families and different situations. College is only worth it if you do it right. So don't just help your kid go. Help them go smarter. Sally.com/GoParents.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I like to see democracy in action when it works. And some of this stuff is advise and consent. All right. The Senate is supposed to listen to these guys, ask them questions, give some advice, and then consent. They're not supposed to deride and attack and campaign. Right. That's what too many of them are doing. That John Ossoff, I wanted to rub his face into some mud. And this other guy, the obnoxious dude from Rhode Island, Sheldon. I don't like him already because of his name. Sheldon White House. Sheldon. He's the nastiest, prissiest little jerk I've ever seen. And you got to remember, he's a total racist. He's a member of a club, a beach club, that's been around for a long time that doesn't let black people join. Doesn't let black people join. In 2026? In the North, for crying out loud? Sheldon, with all your influence, with all your power, you haven't figured out a way to change the law of that dumb club? Why would you join such a dumb club? Ever been to the beaches in Rhode Island? I hear they're overrated. The best beaches in the world, quite frankly, well, the best beach I've ever been to was North Carolina. Man, oh man, oh man. They used to tumble us around. The waves are very intense. I don't know if I'd go in there now. You know, I prefer pool. I prefer the pool because, you can see the floor. You know what's there. No shells, no seaweed, everything's accounted for. You look down and you can't see. Often you can't see what's down there. And I don't like that. And the undertow is, a no-joke thing. And I'm not really worried about sharks, although I was for a long time. I saw Jaws when I was like 6 years old. Probably the time you're not supposed to see these movies. I was very, very, very impressionable. Very impressionable. Okay, just big picture here. I want President Trump to give that speech tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Can't believe the pushback. President Trump wants to talk about the election. The election of 2020. Oh, we shouldn't be talking about that. It's so long ago. Well, in 2022, all they were talking about was January 6th. When did that happen? 2021, a year and a half prior, amid the highest gas prices in the history of the world. Dominant media and Democrats told us the most important thing were fake January 6 hearings. A lot of momentum, by the way, a lot of momentum for prosecutions against Michael Fanone, Cassidy Hutchinson, all of the people. I'm so proud of this. I am so proud of this, actually. There are so many headlines about, conservative nutjob Greg Kelly calling Cassidy Hutchinson a liar, making fun of Christine Edwards, another Capitol cop who somehow thought responding to a riot was beneath her. Isn't that one of the things you do, right? When you're a cop, law enforcement, this was beneath you. She bitched and moaned about how hard she had to work. Okay, well, I thought, join the club. What did you expect? What did you expect? Anyway, all these people are probably going to be rounded up and charged, and that's a beautiful thing. So the speech, I got my eye on that. What else? As we approach the midterms, I kind of forget. For a long time, it seemed like they're so far away, so far away, so far away. Well, we're almost in August. This month is halfway over, for crying out loud, halfway July, and then August is a total chillax month. Try to get anything done in August. Good luck. Nobody wants to do anything until after Labor Day. After Labor Day, where the hell are we? September, and then it's a mad dash to the midterms. Now, people I know, smart people, have said, don't worry about the midterms until the fall. That's when it starts. And if that's when it starts, that's when it starts. But I can't just sit here and not, I'm worried about the midterms. And if you don't want the next 2 years to look like what the hell happened today, like this, here's Sheldon White House. Do you want this guy running impeachment hearings? That's going to happen again. And not that it matters, not that it really makes a difference, but they're going to impeach President Trump 2 or 3 times. Now, we know that doesn't matter because he can survive the Senate, we think. I don't want to play any games with that. But it also distracts from the more important work of the country. It also dissuades good people from entering this miserable life of politics. And it can be a very miserable life. I used to actually see myself doing it. No. All right, here's Sheldon against Todd Blanche this morning. Go.
Hi. How long do you intend to put up with that Kash Patel character? Are you good with his airplane jaunts? Are you confident he's not drinking on the job? Are you sure none of his travel is a pretext for vacation activities like snorkeling, Olympics, and visiting girlfriends? Are you sure he knows what he's doing? Do you vouch for him? Are you willing to look at whether he lied to this committee?
That's an extraordinarily obnoxious question.
Yeah!
And I have full faith in Director Patel and the work that he's doing every day.
Great. You get to own that. One last thing, if I may.
This Kash Patel character? Sheldon, how did these guys ever get elected in the first place? Oh, Sheldon, you are terrible. Terrible. That was great. Well handled. Well played, don't you think? All right, much more seriously. Cory Comparator is a name that I actually think doesn't get discussed enough. Cory Comparator was sitting behind President Trump. President Trump has done amazing things for that family. By the way, I know this for a fact. President Trump has done more than the right thing by the Comparators. He's been so decent and kind. Anybody remember at the convention when he had Cory Comparator's firefighter coat kind of on a like hanging there, and he went up to it and he kissed it. He kissed it, and it was just like the most. It was beautiful and vulnerable, and I think this Cory Comparator himself was beautiful and kind of vulnerable. You know, I heard from the wife. He was there, and he's like, Donald Trump's going to call me up on that stage. I know he is. I know he is. I know he is. He's probably just having fun. And he certainly was on that stage for all of history. What an interesting moment. So this is his widow, a very thoughtful woman. I like her a lot. And she has said this. She said, I want to know what the hell happened. They screwed up. I lost the love of my life. And how did that happen? How did that happen? How can 55 federal and local law enforcement spot a suspicious character and do nothing? Just text about him. Just text about him. Now, part of that is just stupid and a result of our culture where nobody wants to do anything anymore because our boss can come in and, everybody micromanages everything. So they're literally talking about this guy, I'm not going to do it. You do it. I'm not going to do it. Don't take action. Just talk about taking action. Just talk about the thing instead of doing something about the thing. That's a cultural thing. That's email. That's text. That's the workplace. That's risk avoidance. That's a lot of things. It's possibly pot and weed and Netflix and chilling out. Netflix and chill, right? Just watch TV and have sex. That's the point of life. Anyway. Here she is, talking to a fine journalist about her husband and that day in Butler, Pennsylvania 2 years ago. You ready, Carlos, with that, please? Hit it.
Crooks himself remains shrouded in mystery. Authorities still haven't publicly identified a motive for his attempted assassination of President Trump.
You've expressed belief that the gunman, Thomas Crooks, didn't act alone.
I don't believe there was another shooter there, but I believe that he was working with somebody. I believe it was an inside job inside the government somewhere.
And this was political?
Oh, yeah.
Political.
Absolutely. Yep.
Have you seen evidence to that?
Oh, I've been told things, but I've had something that happened with me that just afterwards, and you're starting to put the pieces together, it just made total sense.
What will help give you closure?
When the people who put this all together that day are caught and it comes out.
So if you had a message for President Trump, what would it be?
Just to don't forget us and remember what we went through that day. You know, we're still here and we need answers.
Wow. Wow. We need answers. The family needs answers. The American people need answers. Now, President Trump, I know is not forgotten. I also know he's taken care of them in a very, very significant way. But it sounds like they need a little love, too. It is awkward for President Trump to pursue this aggressively because it was clearly a Secret Service screw-up of the highest order, so much so that it almost seems like willful negligence, right? Willful, like on purpose. And Kimberly Cheadle and Cheney and the rest of it, it's just so bizarre. I don't know. But President Trump is surrounded by federal law enforcement, you know? He's surrounded by guys with guns. I heard once someone say that every president should be a little bit afraid of the intelligence community and their own security apparatus, right? You got all these guys with guns. You got all this, you know? Does that sound far-fetched? I mean, at one point it would have sounded far-fetched to me. But President Trump has enemies in the government. Some of them just... Look, remember, he had to be stopped. Democracy would end if President Trump came back. And if you think that, and you go around saying, I took an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and you think President Trump is a threat to that, then they gave themselves the moral and legal justification to kill him. And that's what I think happened. I want to know more, and I kind of know where she's coming from. She can't say everything. You know, do you have proof of that? You know, I'd be hard-pressed to prove that the Earth is round. How am I going to prove that? Let's say I couldn't... okay, here's a picture of the round Earth. How do I know that picture's not fake? I want you to prove, Greg, mathematically that the Earth is round. Now, I could not do that. And I know some people can, take a sundial and look at the horizon and prove that it's round. I can't do that. But I know it's round. Copernicus was the guy who came up with the theory that not only was the Earth round, but it was the center of the solar system, not the center of the universe. And actually not the center of the solar system, just a planet in a solar system. They arrested Copernicus for saying that stuff. They arrested the guy for saying a basic truth. Just like they tried to arrest some of us with grave concerns about the election of 2020. You'd think we've come a far way, but we haven't actually. You know what I mean? 800-8489-222, 800-8489-222. Do you want to hear a little bit? I mean, he is like cartoonishly obnoxious, this Sheldon White House. Angry politician. Angry. You know, most of them are angry, and they're jealous as hell. This guy's been running for office his entire life. He's just the senator from Rhode Island. President Trump tries the first time out, bam, becomes president of the United States. has his own plane, has his own stuff, has his own money. That's why all these guys get into it. Anyway, I got him apparently being even more obnoxious. It's amusing. And some other important issues when we come back. What's the number again? 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Oh, by the way, at Greg Kelly USA on Instagram and Twitter. At Greg Kelly USA. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You have refused to exclude January 6 rioters from your anti-weaponization fund. You have refused to put in writing that the slush fund is dead. Indeed, you signaled to allies that payouts are still on track. You have vacated seditious conspiracy convictions against members of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. You hired January 6 rider Jared Wise, who had urged the mob to kill police officers. You scrubbed press releases about January 6 prosecutions and called the releases partisan propaganda. You denied that Trump encouraged any violence on January 6. You've cleaned house of every attorney who worked on a case related to Trump, and you've bragged that bringing justice...
Stop. This is great, by the way. I love that Blanche did all this stuff. And the tone of voice with this guy even makes it sweeter. All right, all this stuff is good. Keep going.
Meant that every one of them was either pardoned or had their sentence commuted. I hope that our colleagues who are concerned about what happened on January 6th take that into account. Thank you.
Would you like to respond?
I would. Almost everything the senator just said, and he's protected. He's allowed to lie. But almost everything he just said was absolutely false. Okay, starting with the fact that I have never said that any sort of violence against law enforcement is appropriate. I have never said that publicly. I have never said that in a speech, and I certainly do not believe it. I did not hire the person referenced. And that is, again, something that just happens not to be true. When I talk about what happened with the convicted January 6 defendants, I talk about what President Trump did. He has the absolute right to pardon anybody for any reason he sees fit. And every one of them got pardoned or commuted. I am not celebrating that. It is a fact. And the fact that my department had to take action in response to those pardons by dismissing some cases is exactly what I have to do under the law, and it's what I did. So that the narrative that the senator just suggested and put on me as something I believe is absolutely not true.
All right, stop for a second. Yes, you see. All right, Todd. All right. He could have owned it, right? So he's like, that's on President Trump, that's not on me. Now, maybe this is smart confirmation stuff that you got to do. But I have heard this before, that Todd Blanche is not a true believer. But sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you believe. It's what you do. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in that, but look, he's got to get through the confirmation hearing. He spoke factually, but without the commitment. It was a beautiful thing that those January 6ers were pardoned and freed. I love it. Apparently he doesn't.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's fascinating that we now have socialists among us in America. It was a fad, right? It was a fad. Then it got to be a bit of a menace. It was a fad and then a menace, and then we kind of did away with it. When was it a fad? The 40s and the 50s? 50s and 60s? 50s especially. Late 40s, early 50s, House Un-American Activities Committee, Richard Nixon, Joseph McCarthy, who turned out he was totally right. Totally right. Boy, they really tried to destroy that guy in history, right? Have you no shame, Senator? Have you no sense of decency? Yeah, that's why he was trying to find communists all over the place. They were all over the place. I'd like to revisit all of that. You know, they tried to rehabilitate Alger Hiss. It's an ancient name. Nobody remembers, but Alger Hiss was a bloody, total communist traitor. In the belly of the beast, the State Department, taking our country off a cliff. And they did so much damage, we're still living with it. The idea that the government is somehow more important than the people. You hear it every day when somebody says, the men and women of the State Department, the men and women of the Justice Department, the men and women. Oh, we want to make sure that career prosecutors make this decision, not political. Not political? Well, how the hell else am I going to get involved? Politics. It's politics. It's going to take a lot of effort to destigmatize that word. It's the only thing we got. It's the only thing that regular people can participate in all of this stuff. It was designed around us, not the men and women in the Justice Department, the men and women in the State Department, the men and women of the intelligence community. Deep state. That's code for deep state. It's also, but it's become code for, oh, well, that sounds terrific. That sounds, yes, we don't want politics. So politics corrupts. So, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, not one bit. So, with this, we shall revisit the most obnoxious man who ever lived, Sheldon White House. I'm also going to play the video of him getting busted at his all-white country club. And it's not just all white because of happenstance, all white because, they didn't have any black people in the neighborhood. No, all white because they don't like black people. It's that egregious. Sheldon. All right, hit me with the second Sheldon if you don't mind, okay? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Senators from your anti-weaponization fund. You have refused to put in writing that the slush fund is dead. Indeed, you signal to allies that payouts are still on track. You have vacated seditious conspiracy convictions against members of the Proud Boys. And
just that effeminate voice drives me a little bit nuts. That's not a Rhode Island thing. That's a Sheldon is a pansy with a pansy name. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I'm sure there are some tough guy Sheldons out there. There probably are. Probably on football teams. Sheldon, I don't know. But that was so bad. Now, here's the other thing. Some of these guys have got to come out swinging. And I understand. Regular people are not mixing it up on cable news every night, having debates, right? Getting into Twitter wars. There's some value in that. It's not the most valuable thing in the world, but if you're about to get confirmed, it's a pretty valuable skill set to have in your back pocket. Arguing things on Twitter and arguing things on TV and the radio can help you out in a jam when obnoxious senators are trying to embarrass you. And that's what happened to Jay Clayton, the great U.S. Attorney of the Southern District of New York. Simple question about the 2020 election. How would you have answered it, by the way? Jay can't hack it. Now, he's going to be great. He's going to go to the DNI. I just wish some of these guys would not hold their nose so much about these things. Are you ready? Okay. Jay Clayton versus John Ossoff, a Georgia senator who just might be the Democrat nominee for president. Here we go.
Yes or no? Did the President of the United States pardon a convicted narco-trafficker?
Yes.
Who won the 2020 election?
I'm not going to do this with you.
This is a job interview. We've established that you have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee. Yes, you do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee?
Yes.
Who won the 2020 election?
Like I said, I'm not going to get into that with you.
But you do have an obligation to be honest and forthright with the committee.
Is anything that I just said not honest or forthright?
Yes, you're not being honest or forthright. Who won the 2020 election?
I think I've answered the question. We can keep doing this.
Well, we're going to keep doing it because you're not being honest and forthright.
I'm not going to engage in the theater.
It's a simple question, Mr. Clayton.
And I've answered.
Who won the 2020 presidential election?
I've answered it.
You're here asking for the support of senators to lead America's intelligence community. We've established that you have an obligation to be honest and forthright with this committee and with the American public, but you refuse to answer a simple matter of fact about the 2020 election. Is that right?
No, that's not right.
Then answer the question. Who won the 2020 election?
I have answered the question.
Answer it. What is your answer?
I've given you my answer.
What is your answer? You refuse to answer a basic question about who won a presidential election, but you asked to lead America's intelligence community? Isn't it humiliating to be unable to answer this question, to have to indulge the president's delusions? We know, you know, everybody in this room knows the truthful answer to that question. Why can you not give it?
I think I gave you the answer.
Well, that wasn't so hot. That was not so hot. And I don't like John Ossoff, but he looked like one cool cucumber as he was asking those questions. He was very poised, and I can't, because Jay Clayton is one of these guys, probably. And I know they're out there. They have misgivings about President Trump. They have misgivings about January 6th, and because they digest the regular news. They digest, and they've been told, oh, that's a lot. How about this? I have grave concerns about the fairness of the 2020 election. Now, as to who actually won, who got more, who received more legal, valid votes in that election, quite frankly, at this stage, is unknowable. It is unknowable. And some of my concerns, entail, say, for example, Pennsylvania. The entire state of Pennsylvania conducted an illegal election in 2020. Did you know that, Senator Ossoff? It's true. They violated their state constitution by allowing people to vote wherever the hell they wanted, whenever the hell they wanted. You could vote two ways under their constitution. They blew it off. Oh, COVID. We can do it. No, you can't do it. You can't do it. You gotta. That's a huge violation. So you get wrapped around the axle on this stuff. I think it's very disappointing when I hear an answer like that. But they're just not steeped in it, and they don't think about these things. And that guy probably doesn't watch hearings like I do. And you can get prepped all your life. I mean, you can get prepped a lot in the 2 weeks you have to get ready for this stuff. But you really can't cram. You can't cram for a moment like that. You're either ready or you're not. And he wasn't ready for that. Then again, but the good news is, being director of national intelligence, well, look, if President Trump, in his wisdom and experience, believes that there was malfeasance, he has to pursue these things. He has to send the DNI to look into it. That's the duty. And President Trump, they're always trying to safeguard the presidency from the president. If you ever look at it carefully, that's what they're doing. And it's a very strange kind of, we got to protect the president from the president. Protect the presidency from the president. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. You know what is over and done with? Anybody talking to each other on an airplane. Nobody talks to each other on an airplane. You're sitting down with somebody for 2.5 hours. I feel like you got to say hello. I don't even say hello anymore. No one's saying hello to me. That shouldn't be my attitude. People sometimes are just desperate for somebody to reach out and say hello. People are lonely. But it's hard to say hello to somebody when they're wearing those stupid earphones. A lot of people look like androids with those earphones in their ears and the phones, right? They're glued looking down at the phone. No one looking at each other. I know that there are probably, 3 billion people who use this phone better than I do. Maybe I'm right in the middle of the population. 3.5 billion people use it worse than I do. I don't like that kind of competition. I'd rather just be the best person I can be and not compete on this stupid little addictive device. They should have told us. They should have told us before they rewired our brains and so damaged our children. I worry to death about them, to be honest. My kids, 4 and 6. You know, they know Taylor Swift. They know K-pop. They know a song, K-pop, Demon Hunters. Do I want them knowing about Demon Hunters? Half the stuff on Disney, by the way, I'm getting a little sick of. I'm not talking about the new stuff. I'm talking about some of the old stuff. All these fairies and, what is it? Mermaids. What are these creatures? Why do we have these kinds of stories? Why don't we have more realistic stories? And I'm very, look, it's part of fatherhood. You know what I mean? You got to go out there and make a difference. You got to go out there and do your thing. I get 5 minutes with them in the morning. I'm not complaining. It's just that's the way it is. So your time is, well, I'd spend extra time with them on the weekends. Sometimes they talk back. You know, this is the world, right? Is this what happens? This is the world. It slowly takes our children away. They learn the habits of the world, the styles of the world. They know about, the 6-year-old knows about bikini bathing suits already. Now, we didn't tell her this stuff. Where the hell did she get these ideas? You know, the world, the corrupt and fallen world. So it concerns me greatly. It's also a beautiful joy. And they have to know bad so they can know good, right? It can't just all be good. It's part of it. It's kind of the way God designed that as well. Otherwise, life would be very uninteresting. And if we could only choose good, well, what good is that? You know what I mean? 800-8489-222, 800-8489-222 on this glorious, is it really the middle of the month, February? Why did I say February? July 15th, yep. 15 down, 15 to go, and then it's the most chillax month of the year, August. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Do you want me to do an art show at home for you?
Yes, I do.
Because you're actually gonna miss the art show.
Uh-oh, when's the art show?
At 3 o'clock at camp.
Oh, no. Well, could you do another one for me at home?
Uh-huh.
Oh, great. What kind of art are you guys making?
We're making, like, this ice cream made out of clay. And Dad will like that. And you get to keep that one.
Daddy will like that because he's
and
such a
we made you a greenhouse. Do you want
yes.
What? Give me two horses. Do you want me to give you something that you can hang, or do you want the clay flower that I'm making today,
okay.
Or do you, and you get and you have to and you might
get so excited with all the possibilities of the art class and the art. It's amazing. She's going to day camp. You know, day camp. I remember day camp. She's too young for sleepaway camp. I also remember sleepaway camp. Camp Oneonta, the Boy Scout camp. Anybody ever go to Boy Scout camp? I had a blast up there. Learned how to water ski, learned how to shoot, learned how to, what the hell else did I became a very good swimmer. I learned how to become a lifeguard. I also went to Camp Fatima, which is Catholic kid camp. That's where I learned how to water ski. I take that back. And, the water skiing thing. I love learning, practical skills. My parents were great getting me, getting me outside, and allowing me indoor time to pursue my intellectual endeavors. Okay, Joe from Staten Island, how are you?
How are you, Fred?
I can't hear you that well.
Can you hear me when we get you off speaker?
Oh, yes, please. Come on, you can't have me.
Yes, how you doing?
All right, good. What's up?
Good. I just want to compliment you on your clarity, when you go into issues and the way you take deep dives into situations and issues, that you strive to find the truth. I mean, the bare bones of it. When get away from all this fake media and all this stuff that's coming out, and you just go right to the facts and the truth. I just wanted to compliment you on that. And I also want to mention, can a president have his own security detail?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your kind words. Secondly, the immediate thing that comes to mind is Richard Nixon, when he left the White House, not right away, but a few years later, he did not want government security. He actually had to make arrangements with the government where he was going to use private security. And I do believe that there is a law that says Secret Service must be used. I believe that's a statute. Why do you ask?
Well, when you mentioned it about, the not trusting the Justice Department and the FBI and the Secret Service, because they're all finagling and stuff like that. And I've said, well, wait a minute, why can't a president, he's a citizen, why can't he have his own security?
Well, he could hire people. He could hire people from the outside, like one of his top security guys he hired as the chief of White House operations, Oval Office operations for the first term. I met him I forgot his name. I'll get it later. Very good guy. But he hired him, what you tend to do is hire these guys and give them federal jobs, not have private employees. I think it gets very messy accessing, federal property and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's done. I think there's a law against it, but I am going to check it out. Joe, thank you for your kind words, and all the best to you. Okay, pal?
One quick question for you.
All right.
How anything on your pal, Bill Stevenson? What's going on with that?
Oh, boy. Yeah. We're at a bit of a standstill. I will tell you what I'm working on right now. I have to get mainstream media coverage of this. I'm approaching the New York Times, and I don't really care for the New York Times, but there are some good people there. And what we need is some dominant media interest, because this is, they're just doing this. It's almost like when they got Trump, right? We were yelling and screaming in the conservative media. They did it anyway because they had the cooperation and acquiescence of the dominant media. So this is one of those times where I do believe mainstream media attention could actually help. And I know some people who know Bill Stevenson in the fake news. They wrote him off before, and this is an opportunity to really come to his aid. Anything's possible in life. Did he kill his wife? I don't know for sure, but I would bet a lot of money that he didn't, and a lot of money that the Bidens are out to get him. I certainly haven't forgotten him, and I'm working with two other guys about this case. I wish we had more authority and power, and we don't. We don't right now. And it's limited what President Trump can do. He's in the federal government, not the state government. This is a state case. And if he does get involved, there's a potential downside to that. Thank you, pal. We will not forget Bill Stevenson. Thank you for bringing that up. Mary, hello.
Hi, Greg. Love the show. Just wanted to let you know very, very quickly what my thoughts are on the SAVE Act. It's connected to the Defense Authorization Bill. John Thune is so weak, and he does not fight. So I'm not even sure if it's going to be going through. And by not getting it through, they're going to lose Republican votes. Why should I vote Republican when they're so weak and they don't fight? While the Democrats, they're the ones that fight. They stay together, they fight, they get things passed, like what Nancy Pelosi did. But with John Thune, I don't trust him whatsoever, and I don't think he has President Trump's back. Your thoughts?
President Trump, look, I'm suspicious of John Thune. President Trump said very recently he's a good man and he's trying. He did say that. Look, I would love to see this piece of legislation passed. I would hate to see President Trump get impeached. And that's what's going to happen if you don't vote Republican. All right? They're going to impeach his ass 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. And we can't have that. That's even more important than the SAVE Act, as much as I want that SAVE Act. I'm with you, Mary, to a certain degree, okay? All the best.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?